Penguin Random House Audio presents My Meteorite, or, without the random, there can be no new thing. This is the author, Harry Dodge. For Maggie, with all my love. Author's note. My Meteorite was drafted, in large part, using unaugmented recollection as a primary source. Some of the resulting inaccuracies have purposefully been left uncorrected. Additionally, some names have been changed, and certain scenes are composites. My mother dreams that she went with me as an adult to look for me as a little boy, that together we ask people whether they've seen this child go by, ask the woman in the cafe whether he's been there, demanding a lemonade. Ask the horses on the merry-go-round whether he's ridden them. Ask the waves whether he's drowned. Hervé Guibert. Prologue. Deep magic from the dawn of time. Any time plumber knows this fact. Liquid time, viscous, variable, sociopathic, the ubiquitous matrix wet with time the whole banana, doesn't always move in one direction, a waterfall churning into rivers that are also pointed down. It may, like the earth itself, corpus or organism, be careening, surface teeming, in one dark line drawn by a fat, soft pencil. But upon the surface of time, that is to say, on its protrusions, there are eddies too, things that reverse, or simply start again and again. Smarter, wiser now, ready for more. This morning, I fell through layers of time until it caught me, reddened, hotted up, became dense enough to slow me down, decided to slow me down, or you might say it tightened. A bendy bed, tumescent planar expanse, barren, and characterized by an obsequious but also prodding softness. A graphics card landscape had been emptied and someone large, inconceivably so, had placed memory foam there instead of a world. I landed on my back, nauseous. A long incision at the back of my head stung deeply, half an inch into my skull, partly into my brain. There was leaking, pulp, interstitial juices mixed with blood, a weak and oily red Kool-Aid not all the way to numbles. I made it to my feet, stood, flapped my arms, successfully ascended. I hadn't been here before, but flying, worked through things that seemed curiously familiar. I approached the stove and recall an acquaintance who died of cancer. She told me, near a stove, that she was starting treatment for a kind of aggressive, inundating leukemia. I didn't know her well, but this thing happened near a stove, our conversation. And so every stove, I mean to say, every time I approach a stove, is another instance of remembering her. She evanesces, holographic, palpable, confides to me that her mother's so cool, helps her, she's now living at home. Not infrequently, and specifically when I kneel to pet my white poodle, I picture Laura Owens, her glasses, brown hair flat to her forehead, freckles, the first time I met her. Someone's dinner table in Echo Park. Memory works by classification and venue. There are trillions of minuscule bowers in our brains, and each one stores data, our experiences. The data is categorized, organized. Beds, dogs, tendernesses, events near a stove, prone, has a tongue, stuff with long tongues, black gum's pink tongue, rhymes with art, ad infinitum. Each time we have an experience, our brains bust out new cubbyholes, if they're needed, and transport copies of significant data to relevant folders. I'm interested in redundancy. The same data is stored again and again in many, many locations, each deemed valent by our autonomic nervous system. What I'm trying to say is, I might store a memory of an experience in 3,000 places. There are times when it's not possible for me to consciously parse the common elements of two separate situations. Nonetheless, they've been paired in me, by the automata of flesh, for eternity. Fuck me, that is wrong. They're not stored forever. They're stored, more precisely, until my brain is gone, which I'm just realizing here is a woefully deficient interval. My son Iggy, who's 5, has been listening to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe repeatedly, cyclically, by using an app called Audible on my phone. I'll be working in the yard and then re-enter the house, walk through the kitchen. He's eating green beans, listening intently, staring at my phone, inexplicably wrapped by a glowing digital image of the book cover, which does not change. Peter is killing the wolf with a sword. There's gore. Handsome, mysterious Aslan, the Christ-templated lion character, submits to being shaved, bound to a large flat rock, and then flayed. This part is scary and a bit prurient, what with all of the preparatory restraints. But I hear this one paragraph again and again. It becomes uncanny how often I come through and this part is playing. Lucy, the youngest of the human girls, can't believe Aslan has been resurrected because, after all, she watched him die just the evening prior. Incredulous, she exclaims, "What about the deep magic from the dawn of time?" DMDT has outlined the post-slaughter chain of command, and it indicates the witch as sole victor and lone dictator of Narnia. Aslan, reborn and boingy like a celery stick, replies, "The White Witch knew about the deep magic from the dawn of time, but what she didn't know is there is an additional magic, a deeper magic from before the dawn of time. That is why I'm alive. That is why I am reborn." The grim juvenile argot of supernatural one-upsmanship never fails to make me laugh. Today Iggy said, "Poppy, what was there before time?" We're not in love, but I'll make love to you. Frank Ocean. 1. June 2009. The place where my mom died was a nightmare. It was industrial dying, industrial death. It was a hospice. They said it was a hospice, but it was huge, with a lot of beds. And the reputation of these places is, wow, why did we wait so long to get our loved one into a hospice? In other words, you hear, suddenly, wowee, now that they're in hospice, these nearly dead folks have tons of sweetness, cleanliness, and care from people who know how death works, how crippled, dying, drooling people gasping for breath are best comforted. One true detail is that a dying person could only stay in this particular hospice for 3 days. The lady actually said, hopefully she dies soon so we don't have to relocate her. There were black plastic body bags being zipped up, and uniformed transport drivers hustling them around on gurneys, like it was a fucking grocery store. Zip, 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 zip. There were automatic double doors with a black mat like at Target, and they swished open both at once like industrial wings. There were full-grown trees outside, and deep soft green lawns proliferated in the contiguous expanse as far as I could see. May 2017. My dad died today in Pasadena. I had seen him 2 weeks before but blew it and hadn't gone back. I thought I had more time. I gotta go, I told him. I'll be back tomorrow. And now there's no tomorrow for Dad. I love you, Dad, I said to him, his gray wandering eyes. Why do people's eyes start to go gray when they're dying? He looked at me, though, and gravelly, with effort, managed to get out, "I love you too, Dad," and formed a crooked smile. These words he meant, and meant politely because he did and also did not know who I was. I love you too, Dad. I like that for last words, don't you? It's Father's Day soon, in a few days. We're all fathers. My son, when he was little, was excited about special occasions. He had a cognitive leap just preceding Mother's Day when he was 2, and thought every celebration was an offshoot of this one. "Happy birthday, Mother's Day," he would say. "Happy Mother's Day, Father's Day." Roland Barthes says that even if a thing seems to be the same as another thing, treat it as if it were different. This is a behavioral exhortation, make no mistake.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?